Whole Step Ahead podcast, where we look at the whole picture while keeping you a step ahead. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Monique.
And thank you for joining us again. Today's episode is about trauma informed care in schools. So I know it's a little heavy, but something that we need to talk about.
We need to talk about it.
Last school year, we ended on a really heavy note with the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, where those children were brutally murdered by a gunman who entered an active shooter. So we're trying to we're entering a new school year. You know, we're in that year now, and it's kind of like, how do we manage that? How do we handle those anxieties that we may be feeling? And how do we move forward with knowing that these are things that could really happen?
The reality.
The reality of these things, because we don't know what could be happening next. We don't know who might walk through the door next. So, definitely want to just kind of address a few of those things and try to do what we can do as parents, as providers, and to help our children.
So with trauma informed care is now it's been around, but now because shootings are happening in schools, it's kind of like us as the teachers, the educators, providers have to be aware of our children's anxieties, emotions, because we're at like, oh my gosh. So just think of a little child who's hearing it, because of course they're gonna hear it, they're gonna see it. What are they thinking when you're saying a gunman came to an elementary school and shot up 18 kids? And or second grades or third grade, you know what I mean? And now they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to an elementary school. I'm in fourth grade. I'm in third grade. What if this happens to me? So they're going to be anxious. They're going to have these feelings. So what we're going to do today is just show you some of the signs of maybe PTSD, because that's kind of what it is, that a child may have just by listening, looking, hearing about active shooters, mass shooters, even seeing it on TV, or there might be something at home that's traumatic to them that they're going through, because we never know what happens at home with some of these kids. So
just a lot of times we definitely have like kids that come from neighborhoods or areas that they do see shootings, or they do hear them at home. I know you were saying like trauma informed care has been around for a long time, and I believe like they used to do a lot. They used to talk about it more in the medical field a lot about trauma informed care. But since we are having all these issues in these schools, school related issues, it's very important for us to address and talk about it in the schools as well.
So we're gonna look at changes in behavior. So you might go from a child who's happy-go-lucky to them being withdrawn, not wanting to talk because they have all these emotions and they don't know how to label it. They don't know what to do with it. So they might just be from, oh, I'm so excited to be in school, till now I don't want to go to school. I'm scared to go to school. I don't know. They don't know how to manage this. So it might be children who just withdrawn from their normal self. Children who's had great grades go down to not having normal grades, not wanting to talk, not wanting to do the work. So this looking at your child's behavior as teachers, providers, and parents, and noticing a big change could give you some type of clue that something's going on. Something mentally and emotionally is going on with your child, and you are going to have to help them, because it could lead into further mental illnesses, depression, anxiety, and that leads into other stuff. So you need to know your kids, know your students, know the environment that is around them, know what they're watching, know what they're listening to, because all that can play into them having these emotions. Ways that you can help them is if they're able to talk it out. If they're comfortable, talk to them like, hey, what's going on? What's on your mind? Not necessarily like beat them out, like, why are you doing this? Why are you acting this way? Just, hey, what's going on? We need to talk. I noticed this, or whatever. So they're more comfortable with talking to you. Some kids express through artwork. So you might have, sit down, let's just draw together. Draw how you're feeling right now. and you know, they might draw a picture of it, or you know, you might use colors. Like I'm gonna draw, excuse me, I'm gonna draw my, you know, person green because they're happy. Or what are you drawing your person? And they might be like red. Red is angry.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be a daily thing, even if nothing's wrong with your children. Just to, I don't say nothing's wrong with them, but not particular trauma,
Right.
but just to get a feel for how they
can
feel.
express themselves better.
Yeah, like, you know, hey, let's sit down and color. I'm drawing. My day was this, so I'm gonna do green. My day was red. I'm gonna do this. What was your day? And they do their color. That's called like labeling colors to emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And then it could turn into like, how was your day? And oh, my day is a green day. And that's just the avenue of working and talking to your child and expressing.
It's good. That's a good idea. And it's funny you even say that, because my youngest son has hard time expressing how he feels about something, or labeling how he feels. So, but if I wish I'd have thought about it, because he loves to draw in color. I wish I'd have thought about having him use. I would ask him to draw a picture of how he feels, but if I'd have thought about colors, associating a color to an emotion, I probably would have done that. I still probably will do that, because our children sometimes struggle with saying how they feel. So a lot of times he'll get very upset about something, and he'll be so upset and frustrated, and mostly upset and frustrated because he don't know how to tell you what his problem is, and he'll just say, I don't know, I just don't like it, you know, or something like that. And I'm just like, okay, you know, we try to do breathing and all this stuff to calm down, but sometimes he just need to color it.
Yeah, just color it out. Yeah. I mean, and it's, if you are an artsy person, like I'm artsy, so sometimes I do my best art when I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
I remember working in a child care facility years and years ago, and this is off subject but on subject. I was so frustrated, but I couldn't express it because, of course, I was the only person in the room, and the adults were the people I'm frustrated with. And so I sat down and I sat all my kids down. I'm like, we're gonna color, and I drew the most beautiful, perfect. I was like, oh my god, it was Pooh Bear, but I was doing the shading and the color. It was really pretty, but I was just frustrated, so I was like into the coloring, right. And the kids, we were all coloring.
It was like therapy almost. Like
it calmed me down, and
it
made me, you know, I had to think it out, and I was able to think it out. I actually walked out of the job that day after I was done coloring. I said, I already know what I got to do. Packed up my stuff, peace out, bye. I walked out. But it was a better situation, because if I would have not calmed myself down, it probably would have been some cops called or whatever, because I was that frustrated. So just think, as a child, if they are into arts and stuff, having them color, it calms them down and it can help them. I mean, you can help talk them through, like, oh, you know, when you see their comment, hey, what happened today? What's on your mind? What's going on? And it gives them a way, like, I'm coloring, my attention's on my coloring, but then I'm still talking. Yeah. And that's kind of a way to connect with them and to help them talk out their feelings and label their feelings. So next time they're able to say, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm this. So artwork is good. Doing art, doing the color association. I have a therapist friend. She's a licensed therapist, and she's an early interventionist. I'll be asking her everything. Her name is Hope Galvin.
Get her up.
If you need counseling, she's there in South Carolina, Columbia.
We'll put her little link somewhere around.
But she was also saying there's this thing called sand. I forgot it. Something with sand, where you take some sand and the kids are able to draw out in the sand. And I don't know if y'all ever watched some YouTube videos of like the sand and the pouring sand, or like doing this in the sand. It's so like satisfying.
Even I see people on TikTok, they go live and they'll like write your name in the sand and they'll erase it and write the next person.
It's so satisfying. Yeah. But just think of your, like, if they're doing that, how calming and satisfying. I don't know what it is, but that's a way just to kind of calm the emotions and be able to talk it out.
And sometimes that helps you be able to think, like you said, talk it out, think it through, just relax.
Instead of reacting you're able to assess it and be able to, like, okay, even if they don't talk it out, you're able just to calm that emotion, and then maybe later on come back to it. But at this point, when there's trauma and stuff, we need to be able to think it and help them think it out. And you're just helping them process it. And if they never say anything, at least you're helping them process it till they know, when I have this emotion, I know the color. I know to take out my sand. I know to talk it out. I know how to write it out. So you're just giving them tools in their toolbox where they can use as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
On how to control and to manage these emotions from life, because we go back to the mass shootings and stuff. Sorry to say, but that's our reality now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that
it is possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's
last school year in this area, in the Columbia area, you had like 4 or 5 schools who had incidents with loaded guns. One of the youngest one was a 7-year-old brought a loaded gun to school. So it's like, these are things that, imagine another child actually saw the gun and told an administrator. So imagine being the other child that's like, oh my gosh, I see your gun. I need to go tell somebody. That child had the forethought
That's their memory.
to tell them, but they have to live with that forever because they were probably scared.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
And you just heard about
somebody getting it happened like the day before or something like that. It's so crazy. And another thing about it is, like, I have a friend who has a son who recently told her about feelings that he had been having since he was 3 or 4 years old about his home life. And it's just like, he's 9 now. He's like, well, yeah, I wouldn't want someone else to feel how I felt when such and such and such happened. She's like, you felt like, I didn't even know you had those emotions at that age. Like, I didn't know that was what you were going through until he was 9. It was when he was able to put a label on what he felt when he was 4 years old. So you got to realize, like, and he carried that for 5 years, you know, and it's so hard. It just one thing, you may not think your child's thinking about it. You know that it might affect them because you might see the changes in behavior. You might, see the different things happening with them, but you don't know what they're carrying if they can't label and talk about it.
And you're, not paying attention or not, we get your grades up. Why you moping in your room? Come out, like, but it could be something they seen, heard. Sorry, friends. We don't know. And this is all part of helping. Trauma-informed care is helping kids cope with the trauma. So all we're talking about is first noticing it, and then now we're giving you the tools to help the kid cope with the trauma. And even as adults, you can use some of these tools to help cope with these traumas. We either say emotions or traumas because it's all together. But even my son Nehemiah, his I don't know, we was in the car when it was just me and him, and I asked him, like, how do you feel like I am as a parent? Because because I wanted to know your emotions, because as an adult we carry stuff from childhood traumas, and then we go to therapy and it's something about our parents, our environment, how we live. So I'm like, how you feel? You think, I literally said, you think you're gonna have to go up and go to therapy because something how I parent you, or even your father, because there's issues with his father and stuff, and he literally said, no, I know y'all love me, and what y'all do is what you do. That don't affect how I am. Okay, little 12-year-old.
Okay. So that remains true.
Yeah. But I mean, I encourage that conversation. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? And how do you feel? Like, do you feel this? Do you feel that? Because since a young age, I've always given Nehemiah the labels to his emotions. So he's very much vocal. If you talk to that boy, everybody always says he's beyond his years. He even got like an award where the teacher put like his thinking is beyond his age. And that's like history class, I think it was. And then he takes those lessons and he puts it in whatever. But he's always had the words to say. So I'm very much like, ask, be that parent, be that caregiver, because that's how you find out the real, like, what's really going on. Especially, we done had COVID, we done had the mass shootings, we done had the government stuff. There's a lot within these years that we have had, and we don't think the children are listening, learning, knowing, and they are, and they're carrying that too on them.
I watched a video one time of a child who's playing basketball in his yard, and this is a viral video, so you probably seen him. playing basketball in his yard. Police officer just driving by, and he hid behind the car. He had to
Mm.
be about 10, 12 years old, and his reaction immediately was to
Go ahead.
hide from the police.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like he had seen. How many times have you seen a black man getting killed on TV
Mm-hmm.
or on social media? Cops shooting an unarmed person here, unarmed person there, and all these reactive actions
Uh-huh.
happening in these situations, and it's just like the children absorb these
They're
things
seeing it. They know
and
it.
they feel it, and he probably has never told his mother, "Oh, I'm scared of the police,"
Mm-hmm.
or his father, I don't like the police." He's probably never had that conversation, or maybe he has, but to see it in action, like he really is, I'm gonna hide
Behind.
behind the
Yeah.
car so I didn't see.
And, most
So
kids, hey, there's the police over there.
yeah,
But his instinct was, let me
let me
hide.
hide. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like these mass shootings, these things that happen even school fights.
Mm.
If your child not used to people fighting and they see a big fight break out in school,
That could be traumatic.
that could be traumatic for them.
Yeah.
So, things aren't always.
Another, if you have a child that's old enough, journaling, coloring.
Can be
Journaling could be a good thing. You can color journal or you can write journal. Me and my daughter used to have a thing where she would write in a notebook and I would read it, and then I would write in it, and that was our way of going outside of our regular conversation. But it was like a little trust book where she wrote in the book. She can write anything. I wouldn't judge her. I would write back my response to it. And it might, some days we just be like, love you, have a good day. And then I'll read it like, oh, I hope your day was good. It was just our communication.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just another way of communicating outside of the talking, because I might not know how to explain it verbally, but I can write it out.
And I'm much better at writing than I am talking. In a moment, if I'm upset about something, or if I feel away, or if I'm very just emotional about something, having a conversation, I can't. I don't express well. But when I write it down, I can be like, this is how it made me feel, and as a result of my feelings, I did this, and da 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 da. And so, so it can be easier so some children are those. I'm a visual learner, so sometimes you might have to express visually. So those are different ways that you can definitely.
Even if a child is a visual learner, you can get an emotional chart and have them pick out the emotions they are and feelings, and then they can kind of go off of that and make it have the facial expression, because you frustrated and angry is different. Mad and angry is different.
Mm-hmm.
You get different facial expressions. Your body reacts different to these feelings. So that could just be another visual way to help your child cope with the traumas and stuff, because you want your child to be able to cope with it. You want them to label it. And then, because we are not experts right now, we are helping them cope with it the best we can. You get them resources as a therapist, the school counselor, referrals to, there's different resources within your state. I know we have the BetterHelp, BabyNet for littler ones. There's different things that can help you get in touch with somebody, can help your child with these emotions, be able to talk it out, help with their mental health, because not only does adults, we need mental health breaks, the kids need mental health breaks.
Even your Department of Social Services or child and youth services, wherever you are, wherever there is a place, the people that take your kids if you're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They're called different things, all over different places. So you got DCFS and DSS, all stuff like that. Those people, social workers, are there to help. We always associate social workers for people like, oh, social worker gonna come and take your children, or this gonna happen. If you're supposed to be able to call your social worker and say, hey, can you find me this? I need help with this. My child needs help with this. And they may not be able to give you exactly what you need, but they can put you in the right direction. Ask your doctor. Ask your child's doctor, hey, we're having issues with this. Can you have any referrals, recommendations? Make sure you seek a professional. Sometimes we as parents can't always fix everything. So you have to make sure that you seek a professional, you seek someone who is knowledgeable in that field, so that they can help guide you and your child through whatever they need.
Mhm.
You know, I read somewhere that say Jesus and therapy. Sometimes you need both.
Both, yeah.
Okay,
No,
so
and there's these can be post traumatic.
Mhm.
So if something happens, or even with the shootings and stuff like that, even if you feel like your child is not affected to it with it, it's good just to use these tools, because if something does happen, your child already has the tools to express
Right.
what's going on with them, because they done seen, heard, or something happen. Now your child, you giving your child these tools to where you might get that letter of, this is going on with me, mom, I just want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might get this picture of something going on, or you might, that you might see them playing in the sand. That's your knowledge of like, oh, something's going on. Come on, Sally Sue, let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. There is, oh gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. There are when you are in those situations where your child is trying to express themselves and things like that, those people, those resources that are available to you, they're, I'm trying to say what I want to say without saying what I want to say. I'm trying to filter myself, really, is what I'm doing. We'll just come back to it. 'Cause, go ahead.
Well, at least she gets her thoughts together.
Yeah.
This is, I know I talked about journaling, so this is a simple preschool type, maybe kindergarten, first grade type book that you can use. It says actually pre-K to, because we're all about age appropriate. So pre-K to second grade. And the inside actually is, I don't know if y'all can see it. On the top of the page, it's blank, and then on the bottom, it has lines. So they can draw out a picture, and then you can help them label it by writing it, or if they know how to write, they can label it. And this is a good way to keep a journal, to, starting at a young age, where they can draw out, write, and then it can be a way to express. And everything you're doing, like your child does do a journal, if your child does do writing, if your child is doing all this stuff, it's good. You can give that to the resource person you're using, the therapist, the counselor, because that can give them an idea like what's going on, because they could probably read through, look at, or notice things that as a parent we don't notice, that can help your child in the end. And our main focus is helping your children cope with this stuff that happens, because at this point we can't even say, oh, it only happens here, it only happens there, because
it can be anywhere.
Somebody in the class, I mean, you could be in a freaking preschool daycare center, and somebody don't like one of the workers. Where they come in, I don't care who's in my way, even though I'm aiming for that person, I'm gonna shoot up everybody. Yeah. We never know. Domestic disputes, they happen all the time. When they come in, the parent might just be dropping off the kid right then and there. They know that's where they're gonna be. Boom. So at this point, we need to take those precautions, especially with our kids' emotions and helping them deal with it, but also having our own safety precautions on keeping, we talk about keeping the mind safe, basically. Now, the physicalness of them being safe. So, sorry. With that, again, you can, as providers, directors of a center, providers, home daycares, it could happen in your home. It could happen at the elementary school. And as parents, we need to know the safety precautions. What's your safety precaution in this classroom if somebody, intruder comes in through that back door that you have? What are you going to do? Teachers, go research. What can I do? There's a video going around on Facebook where they're teaching you to stick a chair leg into the lock and twisting it, and it's supposed to lock it. Let me try that in my room to see if that would work. And I'm going to keep this chair right by the door, sign, do not move me. So I know if we do have an active shooter, I'm going to take the chair, put it in there. All the kids know, like, don't move the chair. That's a safety precaution that you have in place. Right. And I would be glad as a parent to hear, oh, yeah, I seen that video too. Oh, you're doing it? Can I see it work? Oh, it does work. Okay, we're good. Like, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I saw another one where a teacher They were trying to figure out ways to keep their classroom safe, and they just screwed a hook into the wall, drilled a hole, screwed the hook into the wall. It's like a little rope bungee cord type situation. You hook it to that, hook it to the door, and boom, you can't get in. And it costs like $5 to make at Home Depot, and you get the materials to make it at Home Depot, and it's just like certain things like that. It's sad to say that it has to be that way, but glad you have it in case it does happen.
Yeah.
Where do you run to? Where is your safe haven? Like when I opened the center, we had to have a whole, like, you had to write out an entire plan in the case of we had so many different scenarios, but you really have to write down what's your safe haven. Where are you gonna go in case of emergency? Did you talk to the people that you're going to? So if I'm not gonna tell y'all because I don't want that information to be public, but if my safe haven was the house across the street, the lady next door, but she don't know that we coming over there in case of the active shooting. You know what I'm saying? We knocking on the door and ain't nobody there, or I don't have a key to her house. How is that keeping the children safe?
Exactly.
So you have to make sure that your staff, and I say your staff because we're providers, but your staff and you as a parent and whoever in your staff as a provider does have those precautions
in place.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, as a parent, you can ask them questions at this point. And I mean, where we used to work, we had active shooter drills because of the environment we were at. That was a possible thing that can happen. But now it's kind of even like everybody, no matter what, should have it in place. Every center, elementary, everybody should have it in place. And you should be practicing it.
Yep.
With your kids.
Same time you do your fire drills, you do active shooter drills or tornado drills. All the drills. You have to add that one in there too. Even if it's just an irate parent or somebody, you let the kids need to know if they see the signs of something about to happen, go hide just to be safe, or go to wherever you gotta go just to be safe on the safe side.
Because I mean, we don't know. Yeah. And then at this point, I mean, bringing the police in and talking to the kids, talking to you as providers or whatever, parents or whatever, having a police come and telling the kids, like, you may have to do this. The harshest, most unbelievable, situation. We talk about the mass shootings in Texas. Little girl said she had to take her friend's blood and smear it on her and play dead for her to survive. You might have to tell your kid, yo, if you're in this situation, you may have to do this. You may have to see this. You may have to lay next to your friend, your teacher, who's not breathing, but you just lay still. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to have, as young as kindergartners, you're going to have those hard talks, and maybe even 3 to 4 year olds at this point.
It's so sad.
So, yeah, you may have to have them talks, because at this point, this is our reality. So don't be afraid to have them talkings to the kids, because they understand. You're going to have to break it down in their terms, but they're going to understand. Mm-hmm. At this point, Tayson he just turned 3, and he knows with the Nerf guns. He knows what a gun is. And most kids, 3 years old, they don't know what a gun is. They know if they shoot the gun. We play it all the time. Like, I'll act like I'm shooting him with the Nerf gun. He knows
what play dead.
Yeah, like he playing dead. Yeah. So they know what that means. And teaching them, gun safety too, because these kids are bringing loaded guns. Second graders, elementary kids, bringing loaded guns to school. So you have those guns in your place. Make sure you're giving them that safety. Even though mine's locked up hitting, please believe your kid know.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, just think they know.
Yeah, just pretend like they do. Act as if they do.
Yeah, and you don't have to show them. Just having a general, like, hey, if you ever see a gun anywhere in the house, blah, 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 don't touch it, da-da-da-da. So they already know. And you're not giving it away like, I do have a gun. Yeah. And so I'm curious. No, it's just if you see a gun. Because now, if they see it laying out, they're like, oh, my God. Like, this is not mommy's gun. I don't know. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to go tell mommy or daddy or whatever.
But you know what a harsh reality about that is sometimes, and two things about this. I'll go back to that. If they see a gun, or there is an intruder, or there is a situation, they might have to use it. So, are you gonna teach them to be afraid of it? You know, that's why you were saying teaching them gun safety is important, because they need to know, like, don't touch your gun unnecessarily. You don't need to be touching your gun. Yeah. You don't need to be around it. If you see it, walk away. Tell an adult, whatever. But if the active shooter drop his gun and all your friends in there, and it's your life,
don't tell him to be a hero.
You don't got to be a hero. I'm just saying, like, it might be a situation that they can save their own life. You know,
give them the scenario.
Yeah, and also I was gonna say, you mentioned Nerf guns. I think part of a lot of the issues when we have gun issues is how children are desensitized to guns. So, like, we play with water guns, play with Nerf guns. It's no harm, no foul. But sometimes they don't understand the seriousness of a real gun because they play with video games and Nerf guns and things like that. So sometimes you got to have a good balance of what you're doing at home with your children and have those conversations.
It's about conversations.
It's having those conversations, because if you're not, they're not going to understand. If all they do is play with Nerf guns all the time, and I know there are some of them toy guns.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's just like they pick one up. They don't. It might be a little bit heavier, but they might pull the trigger just to see what happens.
Oh yeah,
you know. So you got to be real careful.
It's like,
and that's just gun safety.
Explaining the reality and explaining make believe. That's what you have to do with kids, because I mean, we're not saying that's gonna stop them, but I mean, at least there's knowledge and there's a possibility that a child's gonna understand the difference, and they're gonna understand the safety, and they're gonna be that child who's seen that gun in that desk and went to go tell, instead of like, let's play with it, let's see what it does. No, they knew, whoever that child would knew that wasn't supposed to be
there, right?
And that's not what we're supposed to bring to school, and I'm going to go tell.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to have.
Exactly. That child was educated enough. Somebody talk, because think about this, a 7-year-old, I don't know how old the child was that found it, or that saw it in his bag or his desk or whatever. So if that child was 7 or 8, they had that, right. They had the capability to say, oh, no, this is not right. Let me go tell.
Now, as parents, I was researching, and I came across bulletproof backpack.
Oh yeah. Would you get one?
I just feel like the fact that there has to be bulletproof backpacks is very sad for me.
Yeah.
Because now we have to use a simple child item and have them use it for their safety.
Yeah.
And have them know if something happens, I take my backpack off and have to cover me. And maybe I can cover my friend.
Yeah, put it on.
Like that.
Put it on backwards to protect
that has to be a thing. And then now they're thinking about, like, in our school district, metal detectors. Like, and I'm not trying to be oblivious to like the real world, but you see that on like the TV show. I would bring to my mind what movie?
Lean on Me.
I wasn't thinking Lean on Me, but that's another one I was thinking of. What's that Coolio? Paradise. Gangsters in Paradise.
Okay.
You don't know that song? Oh my gosh, you're showing
the song?
Age. It's a song, but it's off of a movie.
Oh, okay, I don't know no movie.
With Olivia was in it. I think Olivia. Guys, whenever you watch, what is that movie? When I post it, I'm gonna put the movie in there. That's telling my age that you don't know. You never heard of Coolio?
Yeah, I know who Coolio is.
You know the song he sings?
Yeah.
What is it?
Something about paradise.
That movie is what I'm reminded of. That movie. So she said, "Lean on Me."
I'm finna Google it.
But I'm gonna.
Clearly, Lean on Me is.
It is Lean on Me. No, Lean on Me is.
No, I'm saying like.
But what I was thinking of,
it'll show your age if I know what Lean on Me is.
But Lean on Me is a classic. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're just gonna go into this, finding this. Gangsters in. Is the movie called Gangsters in Paradise?
Oh, it's called Gangsters Paradise. That's the name of the movie.
That's the movie?
Yeah. I don't know.
But she was in the school.
Dangerous Minds?
Yes.
That's it?
Yes. Dangerous Minds. Thank you. Dangerous Minds. Watch it. It's pretty good.
I was not expecting all these. Never mind, girl. Shut up.
That's the movie I was thinking of.
Never
But
seen it.
okay.
I know
Let's
why. When I looked at the cover, I know why I've never seen it. I keep that to myself. My mama would never.
Anyways. So yeah, they got the bulletproof vest and the metal detectors. I'm just very sad at this point as a parent that that's how it's going to be, because not only is that for like, you know, crazy people who decide to come shoot up a school, but also for kids. Like now we got to have these kids because they want to bring in stuff and whatever. It's just a sad world.
It is sad.
It's just sad.
We just have to make sure that we maintain our conversations with our children, knowing what's going on, recognizing these signs, changes in behavior. What can we do to help them express themselves? We just have to always keep those things in the forefront, so that we know what traumas they may be dealing with, what traumas they may be exposed to. And even if it's not a direct trauma, it just by the things they've seen, heard in the media, letting being aware always that they can affect them and who they are and how they deal with in school.
And trauma is not just, we're saying the mass shooting because that's a big trauma, but it can be small traumas like,
well,
you know, anything. Just friendships and schools and maybe something with the teachers. All that is trauma, especially as kids. So
yeah, because some things we think is small, it's huge to them because that's their whole world. All they know is their friendships and school.
And as parents,
their whole world,
you can tap into that and find out other things that's been going on in the schools with their friends. You can even find out, like, you know, so and so ain't good. You might want to drop them as a friend.
Right.
So, sorry, just keep that in mind. This was a very, 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 very heavy episode. Sorry, it wasn't as entertaining and fun, but it was something that needs to be said and something that needs to be addressed. And hopefully, we can pray. That's all we can do is pray for all the victims of gun violence.
Yeah.
And hopefully things get better. America's going through.
The world, really.
The world is going through. But anyways,
keep in touch with us by emailing your comments, questions, reasons why to a.wholeway@gmail.com, or contacting us via Facebook or Instagram at A Whole Step Ahead Podcast. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes.
And we're praying for y'all, and y'all pray for us.
And pray for your kids.
And pray for your children. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.